Our next one is Holly Huntz. She is going to give us a talk about Nutrition Monitoring App, Nutrition and the Food Distribution Program on Indian Reservations. Welcome, Holly, and good luck.
Thank you. I'm Holly Huntz. I've co-authored this presentation with Ed Dratz. We both work at Montana State University. We've been working on this nutrition monitoring app for a couple of years, and the presentation today has a FDIPR, Food Distribution Program on Indian Reservations, lean to it, I guess. So if you haven't noticed, nutrition research is very confusing. There's a diagram of diabetes going up, but also the number of people in America is going up, and a headline that shows that red meat intake is increased to diabetes, but another diagram that shows that red meat's going down, so diabetes up, red meat down. And it goes on, more conflicting headlines. This study, good. Eggs prevent heart disease and cancer, but it's followed by another study that shows up, eggs cause cancer, and then another study that shows that eggs may help prevent dementia, and it leaves the consumer scratching their head, should I eat eggs or not? And some of the nutrition policies are set on the opposite of good science. So this is a very famous 22-country study that looks at mortality and percentage of fat. And there's not much of a correlation there because you can see on the high fat end, some people have high mortality, medium mortality, low mortality. But a scientist named Ansel Keys cherry-picked the data. So he chose 6 points out of those 22 countries, and then he drew a great line. And unfortunately, when you look back in history, these are the data that the USDA used to set this low-fat diet recommendations. So hard to know which studies to believe. It's important to look at who wrote the study. So is somebody making a lot of money from that? Are they using good research strategies or statistical analysis? Ed and I decided to look at health disparities and principles of biochemistry and go from there. So this is a chart of health disparities in my neck of the woods in Northern Plains. And the thing that stands out to me the most, haunts me at night, is that my American Indian women friends are 10.2 times more likely to die of liver disease than I am. So what drives all of this? Inflammation. And some inflammation is a good thing, because when inflammation comes after an injury, that starts the healing process. But excess inflammation drives liver disease, type 2 diabetes, arthritis, heart disease, autoimmune disease, pulmonary diseases, Alzheimer's disease, kidney disease, and the list goes on a long ways. So a tale of two kinds of essential fatty acids. The first ones are omega-6s, and they drive inflammation, like these potato chips that are fried in corn oil. The other kind is an omega-3 fatty acid that you would find in grass-fed animals like buffalo, and they're anti-inflammatory. A flashback to 1967 and a commercial some of us remember about Lay's potato chips and how you can't just eat one. Well, it turns out that's right, because the omega-6s have the same response that marijuana does in this cannabinoid receptor. It really gives you the munchies. It does. Yeah. So the most important thing is the balance between omega-6 and 3s. 2 to 1 to 4 to 1 is ideal. So you can see the canned commodity beef we analyzed, and the buffalo messages nix the 6 and feed the 3. So the second driver of inflammation, major driver, is sugar. And I do not have a PhD in biochemistry, but Ed does. So our work is a good combination of a consumer economist, I worry about consumers, and a biochemist. So those are the pathways that lead to inflammation. So what does sugar do? You eat sugar, your blood sugar goes up, you feel awesome. Your body's like, too much blood sugar, releases insulin, it crashes down. That leaves you hungry and craving more sugar, and then you eat more sugar, and around we all go. That's not good. In America, over the last 100 years, our consumption of sugar has grown exponentially, 130 pounds a year. Our omega-6, the inflammatory ones, are way up. Omega-3s, anti-inflammatory, are way down. So inflammation's up, anti-inflammation's down. Eating healthy food is hard, but especially hard in reservations, and I challenge you to find your state on that map. When I look at that, I can tell you the 7 reservations in Montana because they're the 7 red locations in the Montana state area, and you probably can locate yours as well. This is a res store near you. I'm not picking on this reservation or this store, but it's how it looks across reservations in Montana. And you can see row after row of what? Of omega-6s and of sugar. So we've been working on this app. We use the USDA National Nutrient Database, not generated user information like MyFitnessPal. We target the most important nutritional variables. It's available on Androids, PCs, iPhones, and Macs. And the next slide coming up, ours does what theirs does. So it stores photos for meals for later input, remembers user-generated recipe. We've got nice graphics that keep track of optimal levels. You can create new foods to add to the database and dietary recommendations, but most importantly, ours shows a balance between omega-6 and 3s, total daily sugar, and nutrients that are important for emotional well-being. So what does this have to do with FDIPR? There's my friend Dana Bird at the Crow FDIPR, and Ed with the white hair, and one of our students. And unlike any other app that we found in the marketplace, ours includes all of the USDA commodity foods. And my friend at the National Warehouse said, oh, take a picture of me and all the commodity cheeses. So I want to thank our sponsors. Many of them have sort of NIH pass-through money. The MSU Software Factory, Blackstone Launchpad, Extended University, Montana Embry, and our collaborators from both the College of Engineering and Business.